With the mission to keep as many men on as many guns for as long as possible, we called him Doc. Welcome to Combat Vet Vision. And now your host, Aaron Chief Siebel.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Hey, welcome to Combat Vet Vision. Hey, this is a place where we get to focus on a lot of different things that come on our minds as combat vets. As myself, usually I'm talking about a lot of things that we experience, how we experience them. You know, I just got done doing the story. It's your story, it's your life. Talking about, hey, we can have two separate people talking about the same thing, and those feelings, the things that we see and do might affect us in different ways. In today's show, I got Mike Amato on deck. Mike Amato, United States Army vet, good buddy of mine. Spent a lot of time at Warrior Built together, doing a lot of different things. And, you know, his focus on life, seeing him come from a lot of bad places in his place, moving forward. And we're going to talk about politics. I'm out. And this is probably going to be a kind of a cool series. And Mike, hey, thanks a lot for coming on deck. This is going to be kind of a series where we discuss some things, but it's we haven't talked politics on my show. We haven't gotten into the politic piece, and there's a lot to politics. I'm out, meaning, you know, a lot of times we spend time talking about politics with ourselves, but we don't go out and try to serve anymore because we've already served our country. There's a lot of things involved with that, and
or we do the complete opposite and become a senator like an officer in my unit did, Mr. Tim Cotton. What's up, Cotton? Hey, you don't know who I am, but I just said your name. But yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, so you know, Mike came up with this because a lot of times Mike's always got some really good ideas. You know, he kind of pushed me into the direction to kind of come out. He acted as my host against my life in a couple shows back. And you know, we talked a lot about Ukraine, obviously me being there. Seeing that focal point and what we're going to talk about today, obviously with today's current affair of war and, you know, politics in general, misguided news. You talked a little bit about that. I mean, him and I got together and talked a little bit about how
the current state of affairs,
everybody's in that game.
Yeah. Current state of affairs. I mean, it's crazy. Our world, you know, you think 10 years ago how the world worked and functioned, couldn't recognize itself today. And especially with, you know, it's like the more people say they don't want to be involved in politics, the more you see involved. So fuck it. Now it's time to get two honorary vets involved. Maybe Aaron might be a little bit more politically correct than me, but my beard's too long for that. So I don't give a shit. So I'm going to be the unfiltered black sheep of the political spectrum. So I'm going to say what's on my mind when it comes down to it. I mean, but this is all about just kind of playing points on things that you might not have noticed or seen in the political world, or understandings of things that we're a vet. We can kind of see through a lens that you can't, maybe. You know, you might be too caught up in CNN and Fox News. Well, listen to us. We'll tell you the real political standing that's going on in the real game that these assholes in suits are sitting up there saying. Because it doesn't matter who you are. You got to lower yourself to be in power. It's just period. So I don't give a shit if he won the Nobel Peace Prize. He's still an asshole because he's in power. It's just how it works.
Yeah, Mike. And before we get started on this, I just want to put, you know, my stance on politics. I'm all for listening to everybody's points as long as they make sense to me. You know, it's like saying, hey, 1 + 1 = 2. Okay, I can reason with that. But when you start talking
7.
about one. Yeah. When you start saying stuff like this, you know, it kind of makes me go a little bit crazy in my mind about how things work, right? Because I want to break them down to the simplest terms, and I want to have like a very decent conversation. And I'm open, and I'm an open book to a lot of things, a lot of politics, and I'm so open to it that I'll listen to what you have to say, but it's got to make sense. And to make sense of things, really, I want to break everything down to its simplest terms, man. It just comes down to, hey, man, if that was the way that it was, this is the way it should be. Meaning, and I'll give you an example, one Mike, and then we'll go into whatever else. But the biggest example that I have,
I'm already ready to fight you, man. What's up?
No, it's not about you and me. It's about how things are, right?
No, yeah. But I know everything you just said right there That ain't politics, man. It's all about sugarcoating shit. You know what I mean? These people out there, they don't.
I get it.
The generalization of everything is what they're doing.
I get it, and what I want to bring up is the border. You know, they make it such an issue, but my issue on the whole border thing is, if you treat your border like you do your house, then for those of you that are for open borders and just let it roll in, you better have your door unlocked, a bed for me to sleep in, food to feed me, and you better be happy to do it. You know, because why would you lock your door if you're for open borders? You need to be open doors too. There'll be open door policy. It's kind of the same thing, right? But because it's not in your backyard and you don't see it face to face every day, it may not be something that you have to deal with. But
right,
the raw breakdown of 1 + 1 = 2. That's where I'm coming from, and that's just that makes sense to me.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, and it does to a point for me. I mean, really, you know, we can invest a shit ton of money, but you know, we had this thing called, you know, Ellis Island, and we had all these Italians, Irish coming through, and they were ported through in that system that was set in place, including medical checks and all these extra things. They're not there anymore. And you know, I've got a large Latin family, and I'll tell you. You wouldn't think that I was raised by a lot of Mexicans, and some of them were illegal, became citizens down the line, and they didn't have a proper process to get here. And that's even the hardest part, is truly to find out who they are in a different country. You know, because say you're coming from El Salvador, real screwed up area, you don't really know, unless Interpol knows about you, who the hell that person is. And so you kind of have to take a lot of things for granted. And it turns into a situation where you have what we have today, where you have so many people that are desperate. I mean, I don't blame a single soul that says, I want to be an American, you know, but we need to, as a nation, we need to shut the fuck up and work together on an actual real solution. If you can go to an embassy and you can file to become a citizen, why is it that there's not a rapid turnover? Why is that we can take why is it that you can take a 2-year waiting list for the VA and knock it down to 2 months? When if we can invest that same type of mentality to these people coming over, then it wouldn't be such a big deal. Now, they're not stealing our jobs, man. They're stealing our jobs if you're an idiot and you don't know how to work hard. You know, gentrification, that kind of thing happens in workplaces nowadays. It's signed in the law. But we as a nation, we need to realize that a lot of these people are good people, and they're coming across the border and they just want to work. They want to shut up. They don't care to be involved with crazy politics. They don't care. They just want to go to work. They want to come home. They want to crack that beer. They want to eat whatever their food is. And that's it. And you see that across the United States with the Latin community, where we have now this border crisis. I love it. Every fucking year they change it to like as if it's some new invention. This shit's been going on for 20 plus years. This is, you know, been a problem. I mean, we talk about Mexico because we've got these caravans and all these people being told, and well, they're being funded. This is a fucking fact. They're being funded by these assholes in DC that want to make political statements. How are they getting Love Biden shirts? Huh? Why are we giving, you know, the criminal that's crossing the border a welcome to America bag? Yo, fuck him. I don't want him. I want the good people here. I want the people that want to come here, realize that they are joining our culture, that they are going to keep their culture, but blend it in with us. I mean, I don't know about you, but I love burritos, man. I'm not going to stop eating burritos. And I want the real shit. You know, when I eat Mexican food, it's like, yo, is a Mexican cooking it?
About that, and let's get into that a little bit, because us, you know, when you think about us, obviously America is a well blended. You know, you want to talk about a diverse country, and there's a lot of people talking about diversity isn't working here, prejudice's here, this and that, and you want to know why? Because it's so blended. There's not a place on this planet
we're an experiment
with more people that are from everywhere on the planet that come together.
We got more Norwegians than Norway. We've got more Mexicans than Mexico. You know,
Hey, and let's not forget we got more hoofed animals than Africa.
Yeah, we got. You know what I mean? We got everything. I mean, people got lions in their living rooms and shit. So it's, this is America. The land of the free. Who wouldn't want to join this? My interpreter came from Afghanistan, speaks 5 different languages, became a truck driver. Now he owns his own business, heating and air cooling business, and then on top of it, he does appliance repair. So it's like, you can have those rags to riches, but those are the good people, right? Now we have to talk about the assholes that are coming here. These stories that continue to come up where somebody is getting murdered by some jackass because ICE, because the state of California, and you heard me, California, your idiot ass sitting there and protecting everybody like you got to coddle them. I'm sorry, but a criminal is a criminal, and if that criminal is committing crime, he needs to go down. That's a fact, and I'm an ex-criminal my damn self. So, I mean, I ain't got no problem to tell you. I know what I was doing. So with these people that are committing these crimes is why we need to revamp the vetting process. And it seems to be that we need to create somewhere where there's like a portal where that's where we tell you to go, right? Not hit every little point, because right now we've got the entire lower belt and everybody's coming up as a wave, as one. We need to say, go through here and then come up through here and then come like this. And then you'll be able to go where you need to go. We need to be able to control the avenue and create a pathway for these people to become Americans. I believe America is always an inch from tyranny. We're always going to be. And with these people that sit there and not give a shit and just say, oh, well, let them all through. Well, why the hell didn't you say that when we had the crisis in Syria? And why is it that you're saying that all these people from Central America get to come over here, but we're not letting Ukrainians? Okay. That's bullshit, because you're sitting there with a Ukrainian woman and you can't get her and her family over here, even though I volunteer my house. I volunteer it. And I can find all you guys a fucking job in a second out here.
I can, but there's a process, and
that's the problem. Process. The process is the problem. It's always the process as the problem. When you look at the influx of people coming over and you're not paying attention to the process and how much it takes, right? Life is a meat grinder. All you are is meat to the grinder. Well, if that grinder ain't grinding right, well, we need to change the blade, right? Well, maybe it's time we need to invent a new blade for this system to get these people in here and go where they need to go. Because there should not be such a long 6, 7, 8 months, a year plus wait. You kidding me? You ain't got hope. You ain't gonna find a job in Mexico that's gonna pay you well. It's hard out there. You got cartels on the border. What do we got? We got freaking that opiate shit coming over, and it's killing all these people. We're not focusing on that. Don't sit there and tell me that in America that when we capture 5 tons of cocaine, that there isn't 20 tons coming in another truckload. Don't tell me, politician, that you think you did a good job or your team did a good job. No, you barely scratched the surface. Because how is it that these people got power? Well, because they're $100 billion industry just selling drugs. We got to attack it at the source.
Yeah, there's there's a lot of things that we don't have we don't have a good idea on as a whole. It's like you said, if you're watching the news, if you're doing all these things and you're just kind of being led by that news report, sometimes you got to look into that. You got to look at things. You got to make up your own minds now, because the misinformation, the misguided sources, the agendas that somehow are being pushed through not neutral. It's not a neutral process anymore. When I
got tired of watching. I don't even watch Fox News anymore or CNN at all. When it came down to when you were in Ukraine and me and included a large group of other people were informing you, keeping you up to date, sending you maps, sending you this and that. Me at one point, I told you, turn around, dude. You're heading towards Russian troops. I know where they're at. You're like, nah, man. I'm like, we're crossing this bridge and it's fine. I'm like, that fucking bridge won't be there. And it ain't, so it's I watch now, like when it talks to Ukraine, I'll watch India. Because India doesn't really give a shit about American politics. They're their own mighty force, right? So they're sitting there and they're just saying it as it is. And India has done deals with Russia. They are in cahoots with Russia. but they're not defending Russians because they are in cahoots with us too. You know, they're the asshole calling me, trying to get me to sign up to pay for taxes for 5 years ago. You know, they've got a plenty of scams going on over there. They're handling their shit, but I'm learning with that unbiased opinion, and that's the thing. You know, it keeps you on your lens, it keeps you focused, keeps you angry. I believe America is funded completely by hate and caffeine, man. I believe that's what made us. That's why when a veteran says that I live off hate and caffeine, I'm like, hell yeah, brother, me too. You know, you got to wake up every day and you got to deal with the things you don't like, and you got to headbang your way through it, and that's life. It doesn't matter what situation to the next. It just matters amount of red tape in the system, and especially with bringing people. But man, we got so much we got to talk about. I mean, this border, this ain't no quick fix. You know, Trump, you were very pro his wall, right? And I was not, because I said I'll build a fucking tunnel underneath and I'll get all the coke you want. You know, and that's, I guarantee you there's someone somewhere doing it. I guarantee it. It's bullshit to say there's not. The truth will always be kept from us in America. That's how America works. By the time the truth is told, the people itself have moved on to the next crisis. See, America, you might,
Mike. It seems like there's a solution for all these problems. However, there's some sort of market that's just too strong to let it be fixed. You know,
people catching the money, dude.
Somebody's paying a lot of money to not have a wall, to not have the borders be protected, to not, someone's paying a lot of money to make that happen. There's a black market, and you got people saying, hey, we're trying to fix it, we're doing this. What does that do? You're holding a piece of paper that says I'm a law-abiding citizen to what? The criminal, and the criminal's going, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Right. So go ahead.
Just earlier today, just to give you an example, just earlier today, I heard a report, a car that was pulled over in Texas with all these drugs had, it was owned by a cartel gang member who's got multiple different rap sheets on guns being used in battles or something, and the car's owned by him, and then the passenger is she is on her way to be deported, but she hasn't been, and she's got multiple rap sheets on and she's holding methamphetamine. Two Chinese in the back. Apparently the Chinese are doing some crazy stuff with these narcotics in the car. So you got this whole crazy situation where the car shouldn't even be on the road, but it is. And I mean, it's just, when you hear about it, it's like chaos, right? And
well, yeah, that's what the border is.
But it seems so much bureaucracy, so much craziness. Like we're sitting here talking about politics, and the reason why I'm not in politics is because I'm serving by being here. I'm serving by my combat vet vision, helping vets. I really don't want to get into, I really don't want to be a politician and be all into this crazy world of, hey man, it looks good for you to do this, but there's a market over here that we can't shut down. It looks good, but so you look at these things, you're like, whose hand are you holding there, buddy? I don't.
Well, it's funny, man. So the bureaucracy of it is back in the 80s, the Democratic Party was very pro build a wall, fucking do all this shit. They were like, we don't want these people taking our jobs, and that's how the congressmen were speaking. But now they're like, let them all over. Man, now there's bad people everywhere. There's no anything, and people will always get passionate about it, but they don't realize the fact that in America, every single person is a human being. Every system is ran by a human being, and all systems are made to be a circle. So this system is just a circle of bullshit that's going to keep spinning. Now, as long as the spinning circle is working, the moment it stalls and sits is the moment they do something. That's it. You look at the Democratic Party, you can look up Hillary Clinton. You can look up Mr. Biden himself, Mr. President Biden. Hey, Biden, you fucking dickhead. You go look up and see all that, and you can see them talking about it. You can, and so it's like, what? And now they're like, well, no, we need to let them over. And then you got these new liberal Democrats that, oh my God, dude, like, yo, you were a bartender. Can you just go make me a fucking drink, lady? Like, I don't want you there. You suck. Everything, like, she's sitting there acting like the whole border is this perfect thing and we need to do more. Like, I get it for the people that are good, that are coming here, like I said in the beginning, but man, I know the underbelly and I know what they're doing. Why is it that in America, I could pull into a trailer park and I can get engine removed, some new Gucci, Louis Vuitton, name the shit. You want it? That's all coming from China. You want some heroin? Get that for you too. Like, that's what's going on in America, that black market. And us as Americans, we are the consumer. We are meant and driven and trained as little children to consume. We are meant to take things. We have accepted the fact that we need items to throw away. We don't need items to last. So we're doing the same thing by consuming these drugs and causing all this shit. I know I'm fucking scatterbrained with this, but it is essentially the problem is with an internal and external problem. Right. So I would say perfectly, there's 50% of the problem is an internal problem that we need to fix our character as people. And we need to focus and train our youngs because my generation's fucked. Your generation's been fucked. Right. Because you got 3 times the gray hair than me. So, already, my bad. I didn't mean to call you old. That's all the look. But,
Hey,
I mean, we got to work on this new generation because they're still innocent. They haven't been totally just washed by the world, right? But we could.
Well, I think it comes down to, I ask this question about myself every time, and I sometimes ask it to other people or on the show. Sometimes I bring it up. I said, "Are you part of the problem or part of the solution?" And if you're confused about what the problem might be, are you involved at all? Do you just go through life with oblivion, and on heroin, just give heroin an example. I mean, no one, there's movies about zombies, but those movies, those shows used to be actually like science fiction. But now there are real zombies walking around the planet. If you're on heroin and you're just like in oblivious mode or drunk and you're just like not in your mindset, is that not a zombie?
and this is, it's not just an American problem. It is a total planet problem. This is where we as a planet could come together, but the United Nations passed votes to help Ukraine, but it really didn't do shit. You know what I mean? Oh, Russia, you shouldn't do that. Yeah, that fucking fixed it. You know what I mean? Like,
we got the piece of paper that says,
we signed a piece of paper, but I mean, when it comes down to all that, man, you got to start with your neighbor. You got to start loving your neighbor. You got to start caring a little more. You got to be a little less caring. Okay. And if you think you're not the problem, you're definitely the problem. Also, if you think you can stay independent out of the problem, you're also the problem. I'll quote the great wizard himself, Alan Chadwick. He said flat out, what's problem with voters in America is the independent-minded person. Even though that is the majority of Americans, they have yet to realize they have to pick a party. They have to. And I said, what do you mean? He says, well, if they don't, right, then now it's up in airs, and then you pick between 2 dumbasses before believing in them. And I said, well, there ain't been anybody believes in. You know what I mean? Go back, dude. When the fuck have you ever woke up?
That's a great explanation.
Huh?
But that's a great explanation by Alan, breaking it down like that.
And that's the nitty gritty. I mean, we got so much going on. I mean, we can't just talk about on the border. We could talk about that all day. Look at Fox News. They're talking about it. Guarantee you right now, some jackass there getting you ready to get you all hyped up about all the drugs coming over, man. First thing you need to do is love your children, love your family, keep an eye on them. Hey, somebody starts not hanging around and they used to be around on a regular basis, hit them the fuck up. It's called G-checking them. Check their ass. Make sure they're still okay. Love your neighbor. Be there for them. You know what I mean? Don't just abandon them because you don't agree with certain opinions, and always make sure that their emotions are real. Because if they're feeling it, obviously it's real. You don't need to be in their body. But
this is really, really big, because there are things that you can't control. You just gotta look at that. But what you can control is what you can, and I'll say, I went out to on a picnic the other day, and I'm just kicking them.
Did you have a Polish sausage?
Yeah, man, it was great. But
I had to do that.
but we're getting ready to leave, and I tell the kids, I'm like, hey man, you need to go around and pick up like five or six pieces of trash that's not ours. Let's leave this place better than what we found it. Because it's like little bottle caps and things that's laying around and stuff, and I'm like, hey, let's do something to make the environment a little bit better than what we found it. And that's where it comes down to, what are you doing to be part of the solution or part of the problem? And like you said, Mike, all these things you're saying is all stuff you have control over.
Right.
But the things that you don't let it get to your head. Don't let it get into your head too bad.
Because then you become that person. Then you become the Karen. You know what I mean? You become this person that you shouldn't be. You need I'm talking your circle, man. If your circle's big, then man, talk to them. If you feel like you need to, and that'll help. But then at the same time,
but don't talk to them in such a way that someone has to be like really offended by what you've said.
Right. But human nature, that's the main issue and problem. Human nature with all issues and problems is we're humans. And this is something I said recently today. We are Americans. We are wrong. Don't wake up in the morning and think that we are the mighty because we won the wars. That's it. Okay. Well, all our knowledge, including that jet flying over your house, was created by the Nazis. Okay. We took this knowledge and then we let that asshole live. I don't give a shit what anybody says. We let that asshole live. Russia didn't kill him, and we let that asshole live. We let evil live. Now we're sitting here, and how many times in Afghanistan did some shit go down where you're standing in front of a heroin poppy field knowing that sap is going to end up in an American fucking house? Right? And you're the soldier standing here. You could burn this shit. And your cousin's been fucking killed. Right? And yet you're being ordered to guard the poppy field. What the fuck? Because we're using those bastards that are running that to go find this Taliban asshole. But now what does that matter? Taliban runs the country. We just wrote off Afghanistan. The media nobody talks about nothing. And Ukraine. You were in Ukraine. You were involved in Ukraine. To this day, you're still, I guarantee you and your lady are involved with the battle, with everything. It's amazing to me. And this has been the thing that I've been wanting to talk about because I'm in shock. I'm in personal shock at the corporation involvement in the war. You don't need a fucking country to say they're going to be involved. You got Elon Musk who said, you're getting internet, bro. You got Elon Musk who said, I'll fight you, Putin. What's up? You got Joe Rogan over here. Joe Rogan over here saying, I'll get you the finest Taekwondo trainers. I'll get you ready, Elon Musk. Let's do this fight. I'll narrate it. I can't wait to see it. It'll be a pay-per-view madness. And it's like, what? This is how we're trying to solve it? I'm playing a video game.
Hey, man, there's a new market for the crazy, but hey, people get interested, and you get Joe Rogan on deck and Elon Musk said, hey, I'm going to hook you guys up with this satellite link that nobody has. Oh man.
It's out there. You can get it now, but
you can, but it's
it's a rare thing.
What's interesting is that technology has exceeded government's personal ability to kind of control it, which is great.
You're right.
Because knowledge is power. And if you want to suppress that knowledge, and and I feel like Russia's trying to still suppress knowledge, but people are smart nowadays. You can't. That's why Americans, I think we finally got past all this fake news kind of thing, and we're like, hey, now we just got to read through the lines. It's all fake. Even if it isn't, it is. You know, you just got to assume that it's fake, and you got to like kind of do some your own research to it all. And,
all these major labels. I mean, you know, I was talking to 11 News out here, and they ain't going to hear this. And if they do, they can call me. I don't care. But they, you know, I was saying, hey, about this stuff going on in the VA. I said, this is bullshit. You know, we got veterans here struggling to go to their appointments, and yet the federal government has set in place travel pay to ensure that they make it to their appointments. And that we had this thing called a kiosk. Well, some high up suit wearing asshole decided to say, we're not going to pay for that. But those kiosks are still in every single damn VA across the country. The same kiosk. Now they're saying, well, no, it's the software. Well, okay, that's a download. Okay, that's a download you took away. We're still checking into our appointments. Still checking into our appointments that way. Now tell me, why the hell now we're 6 months to a year behind on travel pay? I just filed a bunch of travel pay that I should have got. Now we're going to have this influx of tax money going to vets that should have been going when it was going. You know, if you got a budget, you got to handle that budget. And the VA doesn't get enough funding. I'll tell you right now that a staff member at Johnson City VA Mountain Home told me today, I wish we had more funding so we can do more for you. Right? Because what is VA supposed to be? It is a socialist system, and fuck socialism. But it can be done correctly if you allow the open mind to speak. If you don't shut people down like a socialist asshole would, right? Because me and you were fascists, right? How dare we? How dare we pick a different opinion and view? How dare we not want the border ripped down and all borders taken down and we all fucking, you know, I don't know, fucking kiss each other's asses all day and say we're great. You know what I mean? Like South Park, they had a great episode where everybody was smelling each other's farts in San Francisco. I said, man, that's California. They think their ass doesn't stink. Well, everybody's got an ass, man, and it does stink. You know, the moment you forget you're human, the moment you forget that you can better yourself, because perfection's an impossibility in the world, right? Nothing's perfect. Elon Musk, let me hang out with him. I'll have him hate me in a day. I'll call his ass out. Like, man, you should listen to your ex-wife, bro. You should listen to your ex-wife. She knows you well, you know, and he'll be like, get the fuck away from me. You know?
Oh, so man.
You gotta be able to work, man. And that's just people aren't working no more. I mean, look at the crisis with people with jobs, man. You know what I mean? And now we're hitting all these topics and we're talking a little bit here, but me and Aaron, this is going to be a run-on thing here because obviously 45 minutes ain't enough. And if you ain't noticed, Aaron's got a big mouth and I got a big mouth because I run it a lot. But we're going to.
Hey, you know what's funny about this, Mike? Mike came to me with this, and he's like, "Hey, man, we got to get on here and do this." And I was like, "Oh shit, man," you know, because I speak my mind on here a lot, but I really don't push the political piece because so many people are doing it. But I think we can do it differently because what Mike caused from this in me is I understand when we talk to each other, we speak our minds, like what's on our mind, deep dark secrets, deep dark thoughts, crazy thoughts. You know, we come together in groups and do it, and we do it, and but I don't think society has done that enough to articulate some of those thoughts. And I think we do it a lot to the point where we have a pretty good idea of how we're going to think and how we're going to say something without going crazy ourselves. Because if you put your mind to all of the things that are going on, I mean, your mind it's going to be hard. It'll be hard to sleep.
Yeah,
really.
But I sleep well. And I know all this shit's fucked up. I mean, when people talk about the government, I say, "What do you mean?" I am the government.
We have processed it and realized that it's fucked up, and we just accept it and go on. We're like, "Hey, it's so messed up. I don't want to really think about it. I just want to be good to my neighbor and be good to my family and kids right now." And check those things. Check my battle.
You know, fentanyl's going to kill your neighbor, right? Because we're not stopping it from coming over. Then that kid that lives in the house across the street is going to grow up and be a dickhead and rob your fucking deck out of your car, right? And
Yeah.
Because grandma
Do you
can't
remember?
watch
Hey,
me.
do you remember when the Darwin Awards were really epic? And now it's like there's at least 50 million more people in for the running just because of all these things that are going crazy, right?
What is
I
what
mean,
is that? What is
is
that
this
movie where they were talking about the future and how all the smart people didn't breed that much and all the dumb people just kept pumping out kids? What was that movie? Trying to remember it, man. It was a comedy, dude. It's so true to now. I'm just waiting for a WWE wrestler, which technically, if you think about it, Donald Trump was president. He was on WWE. So pretty close. You know what I mean? Trump, I love you, dude. You're awesome. You did great shit for vets. You did a lot of good shit, but you also need to just do the shit that you're good at and not talk as much. Grabbing her by the pussy. I mean, we've all done it. But you don't need to record
not
that shit on a bus, man.
not everybody gets to say what they've done or and and
But
thought.
that's the thing, though. We're pussifying everybody, man. That's another thing that we got to talk about real quick. We're pussifying shit. You don't even realize now, Airbnb funding so many Ukrainians in the Ukrainian war effort. Airbnb, the hippie, liberal, go spend the night somewhere place, is funding the war because it is tragedy what's going on there. There is a lot of good, innocent people. A 16-year-old kid found dead, fucking zip-tied hands in some fucking abandoned building. That's bullshit. I mean, that's happened thousands of times over there. To sit there and say all these things like it didn't happen. I mean, fuck, I was playing Fortnite with my son a couple months back, and right when this was cracking off, and all of a sudden Fortnite's like, hey, man, we're donating our V-Buck money to help the war in Ukraine. And I'm like, what? I'm over here killing people using a law or driving a tank, and we're shooting at tanks with this thing. We're emulating the fight that's going on the ground. And for the first time, for me being an infantryman, to sit there and say, because I always thought infantry, the guy with the rifle, is the driving force. Why am I the queen of battle? Because that fucking chess piece does all the moves, right? So here I am out here doing this work, and I can only think about the Ukrainian infantryman on the ground. He must be giggling every night he goes to bed after killing a Russian. I would. I hope you're giggling, dude. You should giggle because you got Airbnb, Fortnite, you got Elon Musk, you got CNN, Fox News behind the closed doors helping getting people out of Mariupol. You got so many corporations. I could sit here for hours talking about how many people. And this is not just the United States corporations. This is corporations in Canada. This is UK. This is, man, it's insane how important the drive is. Because I will say this, Ukraine's mentality would not break whether they had the funding or not. But without funding, you don't win wars because you run out of bullets. That's just a fact, okay? That's right. How you can see the influx of militias down in Africa and how one little power-hungry militia will take over the next. It's bullets. They run out of bullets, run out of money. You take the money. Russia can't attack our money. They wish they could right now. They really wish. But no.
And that's the thing. I mean, America has stood aside for so long and had to do it by themselves. And it's kind of interesting, when you look at how America has come up, utilizing everybody else's resources. I mean, when we have resources at our own feet, America has utilized the resources of the world for so long with the backup, knowing that we could drill into rocks anytime, but we've even shut down mines because we'll get that crazy element somewhere else, knowing that we can
let's save our forests, but let's go make, the Afghans get the chromite out, right? And then now all you hippies, okay, all you fucking hippie fucks that are convinced the VA that I need to do yoga. Do I look like a guy that does yoga? If I'm doing yoga, I'm having sex, bro. Okay, that's the only thing I'm doing.
Yoga's great, bro. It is.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome, bro. I want to look at girls in yoga pants. I don't want to fucking bend over backwards unless I'm eating some pussy. You know what I mean? So you you look at it all though, man. You look at it and see these batteries and all this shit going on, and it's like, dude, none of this. The mining's still the same. This has got to come from somewhere, and now we're handing power to nations we don't want to hand power to, because now we've got right. You know what I'm talking about? China. China has got more minerals than everybody else, and we're over here catching up. You know, building these facilities. Where are we getting the minerals? From the meth head that's stealing your fucking Cadillac converter to the Chinese drug lord that's also slinging fentanyl. You know what I mean? So, like, come on, man. It's not. There's never a perfect solution to anything, but fucking hell,
But sitting back and looking at all these things and coming up with your own mindset on, obviously, Mike, you have your mindset on. This is the reason why this guy's doing this. You know, why is there such a market for catalytic converters? Why doesn't somebody say, hey, I'm not going to buy a catalytic converter? You know, and then then I got to melt it down and pull out, you know, platinum. And you're like, hey, dude, where are you getting platinum on, you know, 4th and Main downtown where you say you live? You know,
it's like it's like a Marvel comic series now, because it's like palladium and all these really rare metals. It's like we need them all for these batteries. I mean, because and I don't even get it, man. I had a weed whacker that was battery powered. I had to go buy a motorized one because we're there, but we're not there yet. You know what I mean? So, I mean, all these batteries and all this waste. I only seen one corporate company that was created, called it Black Gold. They were taking old battery waste and reusing it for new batteries. But
and that's the way it should be.
Yeah,
for sure.
Real true recycling. You know what I mean? But we're not there yet. You guys think because you're not paying this, you're doing that, and I voted for so and so, and we're gonna have this green world. It's the opposite. It's just your house is green. You know, your house is nice. You got that green grass, but fucking grass had nothing to do with most of America.
and you lock that door at night, don't you?
Yeah, and you lock that door. Yeah, go ahead. Let that cartel member sleep in your fucking living room. You know, Tupac said it, man. Before we have to get off here, Tupac said it. Because I love that man. He said, you know, you want us to change and snitch on these people that are doing the bad things. Well, when you have to sleep next to the animal, you end up being nice to the animal, to the beast. So, I mean, you need to understand the scope of the situation, that you've got so many good people that are stuck in bad situations and they're just surviving. And that's human nature. We got to change the way we look at human nature and how we treat our fellow human before any positivity. But how long did it take for the medieval times? Rome fell, world went into darkness. You know what I mean? When America falls, you're fucked, buddy. So,
and I just, you know, that's a good stuff, Mike. Hey, before we get off, I want to talk just real quick about, you know, I heard a guy say this on the news and it was pretty cool. He said, you know, Russia was the number 2 military on the planet, and right now they're the number 2 military in Ukraine. And I want to say that's a very true statement in a lot of ways, because I would say Ukraine's probably, minus the nukes and minus some of the crazy, you know, ballistic capabilities, they are the number 1 military on the planet because they have everybody's stuff. So the politics and everything, all the politics came together in a good way to ensure that a free nation can support itself against a nation that is attacking it.
Yeah. And I got to say this, man. If I was Putin, I would have been pulled the trigger. I ain't gonna lie. I'd have pressed that button. Nukes would have went everywhere. The moment I found out Fortnite's funding the people I'm fighting against, I would have said I'm fucked.
Hey, just out of curiosity, Fortnite's digital capabilities of this game are pretty close, man. I have to watch some crazy stuff, and this is bullshit politics too. When you hear like, hey, you know, so and so killed, you know, the Ukrainians killed all these tanks today, and it's showing like a Fortnite video, and I'm like, these motherfuckers throw the wrong video in here. You know, I'll tell you what, man, talk about politics just getting in the mix of some bullshit. When Fortnite's, you know, throwing these game, the graphics look so real, you wouldn't know the difference almost.
Right.
Matter of fact, one of my buddies sent me a clip.
I think that was from Call of Duty, not Fortnite, where it's the screen. and it's the heat
Yeah, it's like
signature,
a
and they're hitting them
the
with
heat signature.
that's
Yeah,
that's the
okay. Maybe
C-130 on the first Call of Duty. Yeah,
or
the
something
mission.
crazy, dude. It's very, very intense scenery. And my buddy sends me a thing. He's like, "Hey man, check this video." I'm like, "Hey man, that's a video game." Just so you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, and
But it's
that's
so
and that's what you guys are going to get from this show. You're not going to get a filter. Obviously, you heard me curse and say a lot of stuff that's going to piss you off. Go ahead. When this is on, man, I want you guys to comment, say your thoughts and views on any of the political things we said, whether or not you think we should have been filtered or not. Go ahead and say it. I hope you do, because I ain't changing worth of shit. This beard is here, honey. But we're gonna keep pushing on, man, and we're gonna get this done. We're gonna say a lot to y'all. Y'all need to hear the truth unfiltered. You need to see through the lens clearly.
And Mike, thanks a lot for pushing me to put this together on this too. With you. Like you said, like Mike said, man, it's some stuff in our heads that we don't always get to talk about. I think it becomes super interesting for us to be able to kind of open up about it. And maybe there's a place for a third person to join on here. So if you really want to be on the show and maybe talk about the politics side of things, and I know there's some of you with some exploding heads going on, and you'd love to throw that information out.
Pretty sure I pissed plenty of you off. That's all right.
Hey, but when you bring it down to its basics, and you talked about it, Mike. Hey, take care of what you can take care of. Be good to your family. Be good to your neighbor. Be a little more caring or less caring or whatever it is that does that. So great on you, man. Any last words?
Just guys, everything you do every day.
We will be back.
But we will be back, and I can't wait to piss you off again and say some shit. Because just like Donald Trump, I'm going to grab it by the pussy. Y'all have a good one.
Hey, everybody, this is Aaron Siebert. Luckily, we get to come together and talk about some crazy things every once in a while. And this is probably going to be one of the more wild parts of the show. Hey, but we as combat vets, we have some interesting thought processes, and hopefully we're going to give them to you a little bit. And you get some feedback, give it to us, send them in the comments, do whatever you got to do. Hey, until next time, this is Aaron Siebert, retired Navy Chief, signing off. Strength and honor, out.